Have you ever looked at someone in their late 70s, seemingly healthy, active, smiling, and then just a year or two later, heard they quietly passed away before even reaching 82? It catches families by surprise. No major disease, no dramatic hospital story, just gone. The truth is, it's not always heart disease or cancer that takes them. It's often something far quieter, hidden forces that slowly chip away at health until it's too late to reverse the damage. Forces that could have been avoided if only someone had paid attention to the early signs. I'm Dr. Alan Hughes, and after over 30 years working closely with seniors, I've learned one painful truth. It's not aging that shortens life. It's neglect. Neglect of simple yet powerful habits, of physical connection, and of the very things that fuel the body and mind. And here's the shocking part. Most elderly people aren't dying of what we think. They're dying because they silently gave up on vitality, connection, and their own right to feel alive. In this video, I'll reveal the most critical yet overlooked warnings that often appear years before the final decline. These are not just symptoms, they're signals, signs that the body and mind are giving up. But the good news? These are fixable. Even if you're already in your 70s, you still have time. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to watch out for, and more importantly, how to fight back. If you're watching this to help a parent, partner, or yourself, type 1 in the comments below to let me know you're here. And don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next life-changing insight. Now let's start by uncovering the first and most overlooked warning sign that shortens life after 75.
Reason number 1: the hidden cost of emotional isolation. One of the most dangerous threats to life after 75 isn't visible on a medical chart. It's not a virus, a stroke, or even high blood pressure. It's loneliness. Yes, emotional isolation, feeling disconnected from others, is silently taking lives every single day. You see, we often associate aging with physical problems. But what most people miss is the psychological decline that starts when someone begins to feel forgotten, invisible, or unloved. And this isn't just about being alone. It's about feeling alone, even when surrounded by others. Studies show that seniors who suffer from chronic loneliness have a 26% higher risk of early death. That's more than obesity, more than smoking, more than high blood pressure. Why? Because the brain is wired for connection. When that connection is lost, stress hormones like cortisol flood the body. Sleep gets worse. Appetite changes. Immune defenses drop. Over time, the body enters a low-grade emergency state, and it stays there. That's when disease creeps in. Not from outside, but from the inside out. Take the story of Margaret, a bright and lively 78-year-old who started skipping her weekly church group after her husband passed. At first, it was just grief. But weeks turned to months. Her calls dwindled. Her energy faded. And eventually, so did her will to keep moving. Her physical health was fine, until it wasn't. Her heart didn't fail because it was weak. It failed because it was tired of being alone. But here's the hope: emotional isolation is reversible. All it takes is one small reconnection. A phone call. A walk with a friend. Volunteering. Even joining an online book club. These simple actions don't just lift spirits, they activate biological defenses that fight disease and boost longevity. So if you or someone you love is showing signs of emotional withdrawal, don't dismiss it. This isn't just about happiness, it's about survival. And the sooner you act, the longer and fuller the life ahead can be. Reason number 2: the silent disconnect. As we age, one of the quietest losses isn't just strength or memory, it's the slow fading of physical pleasure. Not because the body stops functioning, but because the world quietly convinces us we shouldn't need it anymore. For years, I've seen it in the eyes of my patients, men and women in their late 60s, 70s, even 80s, who silently carry a belief that intimacy, touch, or even self-pleasure is now off limits. "I'm too old for that," they say with a tired smile. But behind that smile is something far more dangerous: a gradual disconnect from the very sensations that once brought joy, relaxation, and a sense of self-worth. This disconnection doesn't happen overnight. It begins with small withdrawals, avoiding touch, suppressing desires, silencing the part of yourself that once felt deeply alive. Society reinforces the lie that aging bodies aren't allowed to feel pleasure anymore. And slowly, this lie takes hold. Not only emotionally, but biologically. Because here's the science: regular physical pleasure, even solo pleasure, improves blood flow, supports hormone balance, stimulates the brain, and even helps regulate sleep and mood. It's not about sex. It's about life. About keeping the body and brain alive in a way no pill can replicate. When that pleasure is shut down, so is circulation. So is brain activity. So is resilience. The result? Seniors who once laughed, danced, and felt deeply alive begin to shrink inward. Not because they're old, but because they were told to stop feeling. The truth? It's never too late to reconnect. To rediscover what your body still wants to give you. To remember, pleasure is not shameful. It's vital. And it may be one of the most underestimated tools for longevity that no one talks about. Reason number 3: the myths that quietly drain a senior's strength. As the years pass, it's not just physical changes that affect us, it's the silent stories we begin to believe. Stories that creep in through culture, upbringing, and past shame. Stories that whisper, "You're too old for this." And over time, these false beliefs don't just dim our joy, they steal our vitality. One of the most damaging myths: that pleasure no longer matters past a certain age. I can't count how many men and women I've spoken to who said, with a soft chuckle or a quiet sigh, "Those days are behind me now." But what they don't realize is, those days don't end unless you let them. The human body doesn't just want connection in youth. It thrives on it in old age. Sensuality isn't about age, it's about aliveness. Another harmful belief: that self-pleasure is something to be ashamed of. Especially for those raised in conservative times, the idea of exploring one's body without a partner was never discussed, or worse, condemned. But here's the truth: caring for your body, bringing it joy and comfort, is not shameful. It's healing. It's human. It's deeply spiritual. It reconnects you to who you are, not who society told you to be. And then comes the myth of conserving energy, the idea that avoiding physical pleasure somehow preserves strength. But in reality, the opposite is true. Like any muscle, our sensory and emotional centers need gentle stimulation to stay alive. Without it, they weaken. And with them, so does the will to move, to connect, to live fully. The most tragic lie of all: that sexual health is somehow separate from overall health. It's not. The brain, heart, immune system, and emotions are all intertwined. When one fades, the rest begin to follow. But when you honor your full self, including your need for pleasure, every part of you gets stronger. This isn't about rebellion. It's about restoration. And unlearning these myths may just be the first step toward a healthier, longer, more joyful life. Reason number 4: the restoration method: rebuilding intimacy with yourself. Many seniors don't need more advice, they need a roadmap. Something simple, private, and powerful enough to bring life back into their bodies without shame or confusion. That's where the restoration method begins. It starts with intention. Carving out a quiet moment just for yourself. Not rushed. Not judged. Just present. You breathe deeply. You let go. You notice your body, not for what's changed, but for what still responds. This isn't about performance. It's about presence. It's about feeling something stir again. A warmth. A pulse. A quiet reminder: I'm still here. Gentle touch, kind thoughts, and curiosity replace the pressure of youth. You explore not to achieve, but to reconnect. And in that reconnection, something extraordinary happens. Hormones shift. Mood lifts. Energy returns. Confidence rebuilds. The restoration method isn't a miracle. It's a practice. One that honors the life you've lived, and the life that still wants to be lived through you. Number 5. Overcoming the silent saboteurs. What holds seniors back? Even when the body is ready to heal, the mind can hesitate. That's what makes this final piece so important, understanding what holds you back from reclaiming your vitality. For many seniors, it's not the body that says no. It's the whispering voice inside that says, "Isn't this silly? Isn't this too late? Who am I to want more, now?" These are the silent saboteurs: shame, fear, guilt, unrealistic expectations. You might try to reconnect once or twice and feel nothing. And think you failed. But healing isn't a straight line. It's like a faded garden. Water it gently, consistently, and one day, without warning, something blooms. Another trap. Inconsistency. You treat your body like it doesn't matter anymore, only remembering it once in a while. But vitality doesn't visit the uninvited. It needs you to show up. And performance pressure. That's another thief. Many give up because it doesn't feel like it used to. But this chapter of your life doesn't need to look like your 20s. It needs to feel true to your 70s and beyond, tender, slow, real. And finally, shame. Carried quietly for decades, seated in childhood, culture, or religion. But hear this: wanting connection is not shameful. It is human. And denying that truth can cost you years of joy, closeness, and strength. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are simply rediscovering. With gentleness, with patience, and with the truth that your body still matters. So here we are. Not at the end of a conversation, but perhaps the beginning of your return to yourself. You've lived decades, carried burdens, endured change, and shown resilience most people will never understand. And yet, somewhere along the way, maybe you started believing that slowing down meant shrinking, that aging meant disappearing, and that desire, of any kind, was no longer for you. But that is a lie. A quiet, harmful lie whispered by a society that celebrates youth and forgets the fierce, sacred power of age. Here's the truth: you are not done. Not by a long shot. You deserve to feel connection. You deserve to wake up with purpose. You deserve to feel alive, in your bones, your breath, your skin, and your soul. Whether you're 62 or 82, your body still holds stories waiting to be remembered. Strengths waiting to be reawakened. And pleasure, emotional, physical, spiritual, that still belongs to you. So start small. A touch. A breath. A moment of curiosity. Not to chase the past, but to honor the now. You're not reclaiming your youth. You're reclaiming your right to thrive. And if this message touched something inside you, leave a comment below. Just say, "I'm ready." Let us know you're walking this road with courage and heart. Comment, "I'm ready," if you're choosing yourself again. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon, so you never miss these deeply human conversations. Because this isn't about views. This is about you. And the life that's still waiting to be lived, fully.